Hi and welcome to this first video. This video is on using R programming language into linear algebra. First, it looks into how we can use R for scalar multiplication and addition and the norm and inner product of vectors. And also it looks into the matrices, which is scalar multiplication, addition, the transpose of matrices, as well as matrix multiplication. So let's head over to RStudio. The first thing that we do is we are going to assign our vector in R in the following way. So let's say this vector has entries 2, 5, and 8. So run that, run an output. So the R will output the column vector in a row format, but it is a column vector. To do scalar multiplication in R, let's say our scalar is 2. It's going to be 2 multiplied by our vector A. So the scalar multiplication becomes this. So now let us see how can we add two vectors in R. Let us define our vectors to be C, and it's going to be say 5 and 2, and say 8, 7. So to add these two vectors, it's simply just going to be A plus B, and run that and get an answer. So the condition is that these two vectors, they have to be of the same size. Now, to find the length of a vector and the inner product in R. So for these two previous vectors, which is A and B, to find the inner product, we simply use the sum function, and which takes A then B. So this doesn't mean that we are multiplying the two vectors. It simply means that we are adding the product of the entries in these two vectors. Run that, we get 54. To find the norm, which is the distance of any vector in R, so the norm is simply just the square root of the summation of product of a vector with itself. So to run that, we get 5.385165. In R, to create a matrix, we use a matrix function. So what we need to first input is a data vector. So a data vector contains the entries into the matrix. So let's say our matrix is in addition, in R, to define a matrix, we have to specify the number of columns. So in our case, the number of columns is going to be 3. Run that. One of the things that we should note is that R reads the numbers in the data vector into a matrix column by column. In order to read the numbers row by row, we have to add an additional option. So to add this option, we simply just specify by row and set it to be equal to true. Let's name this matrix B. And it. A matrix can also be multiplied by a number. Say we want to multiply our matrix with 7. So it's going to be simply just 7 by A. Run that. Also, we can add two matrices, but these matrices have to be of the same size. Say, for example, we want to add matrix A and B. Run that. We can add these two matrices since they have the same size. To find a transpose of a matrix, we simply have a built-in function, which is t, which will find the transpose. So run that, we now have a transpose of matrix A. The last part of this video is about the multiplication of two matrices. So let's define our two matrices. So here the first matrix is 7, 2 columns. Other matrix being to multiply the two matrices in R, we will use the pipe operator. So this is how the pipe operator is being used to multiply the two matrices. So that's it, multiplication. Run that. So this is how we can find the multiplication of two matrices in R. Notice that if we try to do B times A, that will raise an error.